Hey folks, well this should be fun. We're going to do a reading session with one of our core arrangers, Mason Brown, who has just come up with a brand new arrangement for Christmas 22 of that classic Christmas carol, O Come All Ye Faithful. I'm so excited about this song, this arrangement. Your church is going to love it. It's already available. You can grab the charts on PraiseCharts, but we're going to listen through the whole thing and do a little bit of a director's cut. So here's Mason Brown, and let's get into it. Hey, Mason.
Hey, Ryan.
You know, I'm so glad that we connected. It's been such a great, refreshing year. We met in January, had a little coffee, started dreaming, and look at us. We're almost 11 months later, lots of arrangements in our bucket. Crazy. And keeping going. So
lots of changes.
Yeah, glad to have you on the team. Mason is coming from Nashville, Tennessee. I was just there a couple weeks ago. I'm up here in Langley, British Columbia. Let's get into this song. So one of the first things that we could just talk about is you and I talked about kind of choral arranging and choral choirs, church choirs. It's all gone through so much. Coming through the pandemic, churches have struggled bringing their choirs back together. We wanted to bring kind of a fresh sound to the church, something that really sort of brought the choir into that kind of modern worship creative sound. So what did we come up with? Why don't you tell them?
Yeah, so, exactly what you're saying. And, it's funny how this all came about. I remember, messaging you about this. I want to do a version of this carol. And I remember, just thinking about where I wanted to go with this. And this is funny now, you hearing this, and when people start to hear this, they'll kind of laugh if they listen to this video. But in my mind, the song was going to be in 6/8, very modern and slow. And I think I missed all three boxes working on this song. So it's now in 4/4. It's an upbeat, version of the carol. And really, I was kind of, it went through several iterations, and where I landed was I was just kind of like on a 80s kick.
Yeah.
And I was playing around with some synth ideas, and I had this patch kind of pulled up and was playing around. And all of a sudden, I just started with this hook that was just this 1-5-3 chord thing, which we'll hear in just a minute. And I mean, literally just from that, the kind of arrangement just unfolded. And so
isn't that the way it is with music? Sometimes you just need like a couple of measures. You just need that hook. And let me tell you, this arrangement has that. We're going to hear that right now. So just to give you a bit of an overview, we've actually got 5 versions in total. But to explain, there's actually 2 different audio recordings. There's the Worship Band series, which is this blue album cover. Dan did the orchestration for this one. And then the Signature Sessions version, which is really all the same audio or all the same vocals, but there are different vocal versions for these. It's an orchestration that you had done. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, and program. So you'll hear that reflected in the audio as well.
That's right. So I want to take some time to go right now into the first version of this song. This will be great if your church is perhaps not as orchestra heavy, or you have a more of a modern sound in your orchestra and you want to just fit this great hymn into your, any of your worship services this Christmas. So, I mean, you can never lose with O Come All Ye Faithful. Everybody knows it. It's such a powerful, great song of worship. It's a great opener. You could just open the service just like I'm going to do when I play this sound. So let's listen to it. I'm going to take you through all the music. Look at that. We got it all up here. Got the orchestration and everything. Let's play it, and then we'll just make a few comments as we go through. So listen with us to O Come All Ye Faithful.
Joyful and triumphant, oh
Lots of full chord movement here, just simple.
Yeah.
Come and behold him, born the King of angels. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come,
The idea is that the
let
arrangement
us
just keeps
adore
growing
Yeah.
through the entire song.
Oh, come, let us adore
And back to the hook.
in Christ.
I love the C minor.
Sing choirs of angels, sing in exaltation, sing all ye citizens of heaven above.
This is the first time we break off the part.
Glory to God.
Some harmony.
Yeah.
Glory in the highest.
This is our first time with three
Come,
parts.
let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord.
Key change.
Gotta have it. As if it wasn't Christmassy enough.
Yeah.
Yea, Lord, we greet thee, born this happy morning. Jesus, to thee be all glory given.
Back to three parts.
Word of the Father, now in flesh appearing. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him, Christ the
I love that.
Yeah. And this is the
Nice
first time
job.
the choir gets to sing the hook.
Christ the Lord. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him, Christ the
Last time.
Lord. Oh, come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord.
It's beautiful. You know, I'm noticing, Mason, how in the arrangement, like obviously that hook comes back over and over, but you found a way to keep it interesting. So that as the arrangement grew, it layered, and then you did some kind of different things with it. So it's very familiar as you're flowing through the song, but it doesn't feel overdone by the end. It's
Yeah.
just like so
I think-
beautiful. Yeah.
I heard this. This is kind of a while back, but kind of like the rule of three. Like you hear something once and it catches your ear. You hear it the second time and you can sing it back to and I
Yeah.
think that's what makes it catchy. I think after hearing it too many times, with the kind of the rule of three, after hearing it the third time, you've kind of moved on.
Right.
And that's my problem with it being such a short arrangement, and there's nothing new lyrically in the song.
Right.
Each time it had to be different. So that was one of the biggest reasons for the key change, was that it just let the listener kind of grab a hold of something new, even though the sound is still the same, the hook is exactly the same. It's something different. And then the very last time, kind of my token greatest showman moment, the congregation, the band, you've all heard the hook so many times. Why not sing along?
Right,
And so
right.
just kind of this whole big moment at the very end with the hook, I think was really cool.
Yeah. I love as well that this arrangement really embodies this vision of a worship leading choir. Like this really isn't just a performance piece. There's no way the choir is going to sing and the congregation's not going to sing along. But the choir is going to be asking, so what are we doing? Are we just singing the melody through this, or are we adding something special? And in the beginning of the song, it starts, at that core base of the melody, establishing the rhythm, establishing the hook. And it's as the song kind of grows towards the end, that's where the choir starts to shine, because now you've really got the church with you. They're filling out that kind of bass sound. And then like on that, that kind of part where the choir is just like giving that surprising special element that sounds so great. So.
Well, and I think, that's to me, I think that's one of the biggest keys to this is like, you start off unison so that everyone immediately knows exactly what they're going to sing. And it's in a very congregational friendly key.
Yeah.
And it's like as the arrangement itself builds, so does the choir parts with it. And then by the end, you're just, everyone's singing full out. The choir has the O part and everything. So I think it all lends itself to this uphill, thing of the arrangement and everything, and then drop at the very end.
Yeah, really, really good. Okay, let's just have a look quickly at the different products that we have. One thing just to note is when you're listening to the track actually doesn't have the orchestra recorded in it. So if you're trying to listen for that, it's not in there. We've got the core rhythm in there, and then our multi-tracks and all of the, the resources that we're providing are of the core rhythm section. And then if you have an orchestra, you're going to bring that extra sound. So if you click on this little button in any part of PraiseCharts, you can see all the products. We've got the chord charts, which is just going to be, for people that kind of know the song in your core band. If they want that, they can have that. And then the choir sheet is just the piano vocal without the piano part. So that saves on paper if you want to do that. The finale file, you can grab that. All of that is available when you get the piano vocal pack. You can get the finale files with it. Or if you buy the orchestration, there's also the finale for the orchestration, broken down into string, brass, wind, sax, rhythm sections. And then the audio tracks. I just want to play a sample of the alto rehearsal track, just so you can see the quality that we have here. There, it sounds so great. So let's just listen 1 second here. I'm going to advance it. This is the alto track. I'm going to advance it up a little bit. Beautifully tuned, great vocals, but those altos could really sink into their part.
Yeah, and then you can think of this. There's enough separation too, where you still hear the other parts that are singing, but your vocal part is standing way.
Yeah.
Hey, Lord, we greet thee, born this happy.
So that's the alto track, and of course we've got the soprano, the tenor, and the bass, and all of that there. So that's all available.
And something I want to say to the orchestration. So Daniel orchestrated the worship band version of this and everything. So it's a very pop-centric orchestration, very kind of reminiscent of like Earth, Wind and Fire, Chicago type of thing. So in getting this again, more for that the church that doesn't have the full orchestra, maybe only has a few horns or something like that. This is kind of tailored to that style and everything. So you get that, and as we'll see here in a second, when we go to the Center Sessions version, it's a completely different orchestration. It has a whole different vibe to it. Yeah.
Well, let's go to that right now. So I'm going to just take us back to the album, which we call the O Come All You Faithful EP. That's where you can see all the different versions here. So just kind of clicking in to the main anthem version here. And I'm going to listen to this. So the vocals are pretty much the same. I'm going to show us through the orchestration since we've already seen the vocals. And we're just going to listen to a couple of minutes of the song with the orchestration, and you can get that vibe. This is going to be great for churches that have the rest of the instruments to join in. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Come on.
All different, completely different.
Sounds like Star Wars.
I love it. I love it.
Oh, come, all ye faithful.
Not a ton of movement here, but it's setting up.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. Here we go. The flutes,
Yep.
the Christmas flutes.
Absolutely. Can't do Christmas without it.
Here we go.
Sing choirs of angels, sing in exaltation, sing all ye citizens of heaven above. Glory
I love what you've done with the flutes. Very Christmassy.
Yeah.
in the highest.
Here we go.
Come let us adore Him. Oh, come let us adore Him. Oh, come let us adore in Christ the Lord.
Let's listen through a little bit of the key change. Here we go.
Still has the Christmas vibe.
Yeah.
Yea, Lord, we greet Thee, born this happy morning. Jesus, to Thee be all glory given. Word of the Father, now in flesh appearing. Oh, come let us adore Him. Oh, come let us adore Him. Oh, come let us adore in Christ the Lord.
The brass are really starting to come out as the song
Yeah.
grows like this.
Yeah. Had way too much fun with this.
That's it.
Come let us adore Him. Oh, come let us adore.
Obviously, this is really for the congregation joining in. They're fully in now.
Yep.
In Christ the Lord. Oh, come let us adore in Christ the Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously the the core of the song, what made this arrangement is all still intact. The
Yeah.
hook is still there. It's a lot still of the same kind of '80s elements that made the arrangement. But I really wanted to just kind of make this thing Christmas, like
Yeah.
in all those the John Williams style of orchestration things, the flutes, the violins, the harp, stuff like that. I think just kind of help drive home the fact that like this is a Christmas song. And I think for those churches that do have full orchestras or use lots of stems and stuff like that, this is a great version for that. Again, same thing. The choral anthem vocals are exactly the same, but you just have more of an orchestra feature with what you're doing. You can still use the full band. So
Yeah.
I think it's a nice addition to what we were doing.
Yeah. So, and we've got the orchestral elements in the tracks for this version.
Yeah.
So if you don't have this full orchestra and you want to bring some of these sounds into the background of even your rhythm section, you totally can do that with the signature
Absolutely.
session versions. So as
Absolutely.
you can tell, hopefully not to overwhelm you all, but there are lots of options. You can think about, like, what is my church? What key do we need to sing this song in? What's the vibe that we're going for? What's the capacity of my choir? How big is my choir? All those options, you can zero in on the version that's going to work the best for you, and it should be great. So speaking of the choir, we've been doing these arrangements for the last 6 or 8 months where we're taking modern worship songs and then making them into 4 different vocal styles for choir. There is the regular choral anthem, there's Sing It Now, which is more simplified vocals and really keyed for the choir to lead the song rather than a worship leader in choir, right?
Right.
And then unison 2-part, and then worship band, which is like a 3-part. So we want to look at that with this arrangement and just see exactly how those vocals are a little different. Do you want to tell me about?
Yeah, and I think and you hit on it really well. Like, I mean, obviously in the recording, in this recording, there still is the lead vocal and everything, but you could take that away, and again, the integrity of the arrangement is all still there, and the choir can be the leader. You don't have to have a singer out front. You don't have to have a praise team out front. It's designed in a way that literally the choir, whether you have 10 people or whether you have 100 people, can all lead this song. And again, the melody never changes. So once the congregation starts singing, you just wind up having, a big church experience with it. So, and again, so that kind of tails into when you get to sing it now. So like, when we get to those versions, the melody always stays in the soprano voice.
Yeah.
And so depending on where where the arrangement is going and everything, if it starts getting too high, the voicing winds up opening up to allow room so that not everyone is singing as high or as low as
right.
they absolutely can. And so the same thing as we're going down to the versions, when you get to SAB, you've eliminated the bass, and maybe that tenor voice is lowered a little bit to become more of a baritone voice. And then when you get to unison 2-part, you have tenors and sopranos now singing melody, and altos and bass singing a harmony part to it. So again, for the design for the smaller churches, and I think that's the great thing about this is, like I was saying, like if you've got 10 people in the choir, you've got 100, this song works, this arrangement works for you. And really having the added congregation part of it I think just lends the usefulness of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's look at the different versions here. So I've got the choir sheet. This has no piano parts, so we can really sort of zone in on the choral parts. Obviously, there's a lot of unison going on here. This is the main choral anthem version. It starts to change here at section 6. So we'll just look as an example for
and to note real quick on this version, the melody is still in the tenor voice, so that's why like there's no bass part. So that's why everything seems a little lower. So you'll notice once we go to the other versions, this part will become a little higher in the vocal range.
Well, let's look at this section here. Here I am in section 6. This is Sing It Now, and then this is the standard choral version. So actually in the Sing It Now, you've gone into 4 parts because we're really focusing on the 4-part choir with the Sing It Now.
Exactly, yeah. And you tell the voicing is pushed a little higher because the melody is now back in the soprano voice to help lead everything, and that's why we've added the bass part to it. So it keeps that going, and then if you notice a few measures later, the voicing kind of opens up just to help, so the tenors aren't screaming really high. They're singing more in like the meat of their range. Gotcha.
Whereas you got more higher tenors here in the original version. So just flip it over. We've got also, this is the 3-part version, which is probably obviously going to be similar to the choral anthem version at this section because it's in 3 parts.
Yeah, so really I hear the biggest difference is the absence of the bass part, and just that the tenor is already kind of singing lower, so it just naturally becomes a baritone part. So just kind of minus the absence of the bass part.
And then if we flip over here to the unison 2-part, now we're just in the treble clef. So how is a choir supposed to read this chart in a treble clef? What you were saying, soprano and tenor on top?
So so when it goes to divisi, the top note is soprano and tenor, and obviously the tenors are singing in their range, so it's an octave apart. So you're singing melody, and then the bottom note of the divisi is the alto and bass, again an octave, so that you always have a harmony, but you're not trying to learn 4 different parts and everything. It becomes a very unified. That way, if you have one voice singing your part, the other voice just kind of naturally grabs hold of it.
Yep. Very good. Well, let's flip ahead to like another section here. I'm just going to kind of move to section 9, because here the whole arrangement is kind of growing. As you heard it in the audio, it sort of starts with like lots of unison, and then we're building and layering until you get to that break, and then so here we are in section 9. This is the original version, the choral anthem version. I'm just going to compare that to the Sing It Now. So
And
here
actually,
you can
Ryan,
see.
if you jump up one system to that Word of the Father line, I think
Yeah,
yeah,
very
right there,
good.
there you go. Yeah, you can see a big difference there.
Okay, tell me what you see
Yeah,
here.
yeah. So if you this is the Sing It Now version.
Yeah,
So again, the melodies in the soprano. So the soprano is singing high. They're on that E at the start of that the Word of the Father line, and really, again, I kind of just wanted this kind of a big choir moment there for them. So it's kind of the first time in this song, and it's rare that this happens, but there's a three part in the ladies, and with the guys singing the melody or the tenor singing the melody an octave down. And so I think it just like you have soprano singing the melody and tenor singing the melody, plus probably the congregation. It's going to be massive, and so
yeah,
I think that's kind of like a big addition to the Sing It Now version. If you compare it to the choral anthem version, really what's eliminated is that top soprano singing the melody. So you're missing a lot of that area and everything. So it's just the tenors that have that. Um,
right there. Yes,
yeah.
gotcha.
So the same thing. So like when you go compare it to the worship choir version, the three part, we kind of had to space that out. So like the sopranos are singing the melody there, but I couldn't do this big voice thing. So the tenors are now singing lower for that baritone range, and there's an open voicing kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, really good. You know what I'm seeing as I'm looking at this. Obviously, you could just get one of the versions, and then you could go through and pencil through and be like, okay, tenors don't sing here, and sopranos and all of this. But there's a lot of effort that's gone into the vocal arranging of these. So we're trying to do that work for you. Just pick the version that fits
Yeah,
it, and then go after it. Right?
it's definitely about being intentional. I mean,
Yeah,
like as someone who I guess kind of crafted the arrangement, like every part from the initial when we're talking about like the hook and like how it never, even though it's repeated so many times, it never gets old. Like there's an intentional reason as to why that, and so it goes all the way through to the vocals to every vocal part. Like it's not just about taking something away. There's a
yeah,
if you do take something away, something has got to replace that, and so everything is intentional. Again, like that in the Sing It Now thing, the big choir moment, Word of the Father. Like
yeah,
yeah, we're doing this arrangement, and some of the voicing is opening up, but when you get to that part, I really want it to shine. So there's a reason why the choir part is as big as it is there. So
yeah,
yeah, I think it is. It's about being intentional. It's about knowing where you want each arrangement to go, each vocal part, and I think that's what makes each one of them unique, and
yeah,
helps for that church or choir that has those amount of singers.
yeah. That's beautiful. Well, I hope that you all
Thank you.
have enjoyed this time just to kind of chat through the song, listen through it, kind of like a little bit of the director's cut. You can see some of the thought, the process, the intentionalities, as you said, Mason, going
Yeah,
into this arrangement. I think it's going to be great for this Christmas. I hope that you as a church can find it to be helpful, and just know that you can put a ton of energy into making it great with your band, and know you can just show up any Sunday in December and your church is just going to be caught up in a great experience of worship. And that's what we're trying to create resources for. So
absolutely,
thank you,
absolutely.
Mason, and thank you
Thank
all.
you.
I hope you get ready to have an incredible Christmas. We've got lots of arrangements that are like this, lots of other signature sessions, lots of other modern worship songs that are put in the Sing It Now worship band, choral anthem, and unison two parts. So this is just a good example of the kind of thought process that goes into creating these arrangements. So
Yeah.
with that, we'll let you go. Have yourself a great November. Can't wait for December to come. It's going to be awesome. We'll talk to you after.